Hello and good day, everyone. We are the group 4 and we are assigned to report about virtue ethics. So, before I start, let me introduce myself first. I am the first reporter, Desiree Rosales, and as I've said, we are going to talk all about our report about the virtue ethics. Virtue ethics is defined as the goodness of human being. It emphasizes individuals' character and personality traits instead of one's action. So, unlike in consequentialism that is focused so much on the consequences and comes on any situation, and deontology that concentrates on the rules or duties, virtue ethics does not focus on how we should behave. It does not provide any rules and laws, but rather it focuses on the character of a person. For example, your loyalty, honesty, your patience, your courage, and many more. So, there are two major thinkers of virtue ethics. They are the ancient Greeks discussing about virtue ethics, namely Plato and Aristotle. So both of them have their own standpoint about virtue ethics, but before we go to that part, both agreed that human as we are, we have our rationality, we have rational will, and because of that rationality, we know the purpose of our existence. We know what we are doing, and we know how to think. But as I've said, at some point of their discussion, they also contradict on their standpoint when talking about ethical principle of life. And that will be tackled by the next report.
Grace Ramagara, and I'll be discussing the continuation of introduction. So, according to Plato and virtuous ethics, the real existence comes from the outside of human sensory existence. Virtue is supposed to be a kind of knowledge. It is identified with wisdom. It is the real existence of a person kay naan siya sa mga butang na iyang makita, mahikap, o sa iyang mga nahibaw-an da reality. Karon nga panghitabo, as in karon nga panghitabo. This is reality. In makaingon ka nga reality siya, kay gamitan nimo siya sa imong intellect. Kay nagunaw na ka nga imo lang experience. So that's the idea of Plato. So the other one, Aristotle. So according to Aristotle, in virtuous ethics, the real is found within our everyday encounter with objects in the world. What makes nature intelligible? It is character of having both form and matter. So the truth and the good can exist apart from the object, are not independent. So if di siya independent sa atong experience, like di bitaw tama di ta mabuhi bitaw di kay ta mo satisfy sa atong adlaw if di ta kagunit cell phones like that. So we are not separated by the objects around us. Example of that is cell phone. Di kita mabuhi usahay if di ta kagunit og cell phone.
Mendoza Ana Marie. So, happiness and ultimate purpose. Happiness is the ultimate end and purpose of human. Happiness is not pleasure nor it is virtue. Aristotle began his discussion ethics of showing that person will act based on how they say their own self-purpose. Aristotle begins of ethics na gipakita sa usa ka tawo padung sa iyang purpose sa kinabuhi. Aristotle it mentioned the good considered as telos or purpose in which person act to achieve. Emotional state characteristic feelings of joy, satisfaction, contentment, and fulfillment. For me, I don't need to be understanding on their action that they were aiming, as I said, you are not responsible to understanding that person behavior because they're responsible for their action. They done being able to reach the characteristics nga atong enjoyment, satisfaction, contentment, and fulfillment sa tanang butang na atong makabot para sa ikalipay sa goal nato.
For continuation in hierarchy of telos, it is an act of a highest purpose. It is a person's ultimate goal. So, Aristotle did discuss the criteria in recognizing a person's goodness. There are two criteria given by Aristotle. First, the highest good of a person must be final. That is mean that they should reach the end, that have a clear and the goal or the purpose that they are aiming is a higher goal. Second, the ultimate telos of a person must be sufficient. It is mean that a person will continue on aiming on another goal toward their own purpose and happiness. A person's goal won't be done with just one. They will continue on reaching another goal that they want to achieve that can make themselves happy and feel satisfied. A person's happiness, it is described as an evolving positive emotions and life satisfaction that will turn to happiness at last when we think to something that we want to achieve. Our desire of reaching that have been developed. Philosopher did tell or inquiring this happiness and ultimate purpose since ancient times, nor it is a virtue. Happiness is when a person or an individual are aiming of something that they want to achieve, that they find their purpose too. Our ultimate happiness turn as eudaimonia. Eudaimonia, it is the highest human good, the only human good that is desirable for its own sake, as an end itself, rather than for the sake of something else, as a means towards some other end.
Everyone, I am Hazel Lamontos. I will discuss about virtue as excellence. Virtue as excellence refers to the concept of virtue as a state of excellence or superior quality in human character and behavior. According to Aristotle, virtue are arrayed by Greek concerns that virtue excellence are ability to function according to reason, to perform an activity well or excellently. Virtue as excellence emphasizes the importance of developing and exercising these virtues consistently. It involves finding a balance between extremes, avoiding excesses or deficiencies, and acting in a way that aligns with ideal of human excellence. For example, if you are part of a crime but then you become a whistleblower for a crime that you committed, is that means that you are a virtuous person already? The answer is no, because being an excellent individual works on doing well on in her day-to-day existence. So, excellence or virtue is not merely a quality or trait, but an active expression of human soul. To achieve excellence, one must understand the fundamental nature of human soul and align it with rational activity in a virtuous manner. True excellence comes from engaging in actions that are guided by reason and morality, allowing the soul to fulfill its potential and lead a virtuous life. For Aristotle, the human soul is divided into two parts, the irrational elements and the rational faculty. The irrational elements of man consistent of vegetative and appetitive aspects. The vegetative aspects function as giving nutrition and providing the activity of physical growth in a person. Meaning, vegetative side is concerned with the basic needs that keeps us alive and it's effectively our survival instinct. These aspects ensures that the body receives the necessary nourishment and undergoes the processes required for its growth and maintenance. while the appetitive aspect works as desiring faculty of man. The act of desiring in itself is an impulse that naturally runs the reason. So, the appetitive aspect of a person refers to the faculty of desires. It involves the impulses and cravings. The arising is a natural inclination that often operates independently of reason and can sometimes resist the guidance of reason. Our desires can often be driven by instinct or immediate gratification, which may not always align with rational thinking, logically or morally right.
Of report ni Miss Lumutos. So, in contrast, the rational faculty of man exercise excellence in him, one can rightly or wrong apply the use of reason in his part. This faculty is further divided into two aspects. First, moral, which concern the act of doing. Intellectual, and intellectual, which concern the act of knowing. So, moral, na siya kalabutan sa lihok sa pagbuhat. And intellectual, na siya kalabutan sa lihok sa pagkahibaw. So, there are two ways by which one can attain intellectual excellence. First is philosophic wisdom. Deals with attaining knowledge about the fundamental principle and truth that govern the universe. Nagdiscuss ni siya about sa prinsipyo o kamatuoran. Practical wisdom is an excellence in knowing the right conduct in carrying out a particular act. In other words, one can attain a wisdom that can provide us with a guide on how to behave in our daily lives. Means knowing right conduct of attitude or behavior na need natong i-maintain ning lihuka kay magamit nato ni sa atong pag-adlaw-adlaw. Aristotle suggests that although the rational function of a person, moral and intellectual, are distinct from each other, it is necessary for humans to attain the intellectual virtue of practical wisdom in order to accomplish a moral virtue act. So gamit jud mas gamit jud ang practical wisdom to accomplish our moral virtue act. So discussing moral virtue, Aristotle says that it is attained by means of habit. A moral virtue man for Aristotle is someone who habitually determines the good and does the right action. Moral virtue is acquired through habit. Being moral good is a process of getting used to doing the proper act. The saying practice makes perfect can be applied to the aspect of a person.
Ipakulba, and I'm going to report about moral virtue. So moral virtue is a concept that has been discussed by philosophers and thinkers for centuries. So it refers to the character that are necessary for fulfilling a good life and better place. So at its core, moral virtue is about behaving in a way that is ethical, just, and compassionate. This means that treating others with kindness, honesty, and trustworthy in our dealings with them. So it is also means taking responsibility for our actions and striving to make a positive impact on the world around us. So one of the most important aspects of moral virtue is empathy. This is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, and it's crucial for building strong relationships and creating a sense of community. Aspects of moral virtue is integrity. So this means that being true to our word and living up to our commitments even when it's difficult or inconvenient. It is also means being willing to admit our mistakes and take responsibility for them, rather than trying to shift the blame onto others. So finally, the moral virtue involves a commitment to personal growth and self-improvement. So in conclusions, moral virtue is a vital concept that has implications for all aspects of our lives by cultivating qualities and empathy, integrity, and personal growth. So we can become better people and make a positive impact on the world around us. So
My topic for today is about metosis. So metosis is a Greek term that means the middle way or moderation, and it is a concept that has been discussed by philosophers and thinkers for centuries. In its core, the idea of metosis is about finding a balance between extremes and pursuing a path of moderation and balance in all aspects of life. So, the word, the middle way or moderation, ito po ay tumutukoy sa paghanap ng isang balanse at katamtamang paraan para sa iba't ibang aspeto ng buhay. kasama na ang moral na pag-uugali. Ito ay nagpapahiwatig ng pag-iwas sa mga labis o sobra, sa halip ay paghahanap ng isang gitnaang daan. Ito ay nangangailangan ng paghahanap ng isang maluwag na balanse sa pagitan ng magkasalungat o magkakalaban na mga katangian, kabutihan, o mga kilos. Additionally, mitosis can be applied to individual moral behavior. So, for example, ang isang taong may katuwiran ay maaaring maghangad na palaguin ang mga katangian tulad ng tapang, malasakit at katapatan ng isang balanse, katamtamang paraan, sa halip na labis na magtuon ng isang kahusayan ng labis na pabayaan ang iba. Ang balansing paglapit na ito ay makakatulong sa pagpapaunlad ng isang moral na pagkataong may kabutihan at praktikal. So, sir, thank you.